Hey, what's up, guys? Today I want to talk about traditional BRRRR versus our BRRRR. Now, if you're a real estate investor or you've read books or you've been around the real estate investing community, I'm certain that you've heard of the BRRRR method. Real quick, basically, the BRRRR method is an acronym that stands for buy, rehab, rent, refinance, and repeat, which is a fantastic method for getting started. Now, we took that same method, we turned it on our head, and we solved a few problems that I saw with that traditional BRRRR method. And so I want to talk about some of those problems, how we've solved them in some ways that you can apply these into your own real estate investing ventures and make more money and more profit. So the traditional BRRRR method says that you take cash and you acquire a property, you pay to renovate that property, and then at the end of that process, you refinance it, you pull all your money out of that deal, you turn around and you buy another property. Fantastic, awesome strategy. The problem that we found is that most BRRRR are going to take around $75,000 to $100,000, which most people, the average person trying to get started and break into the investing game, doesn't just have $75,000 or $100,000 just sitting around to dump into a deal, therefore forcing them to either have to save up longer, save more money, or to just wait, stay on the sideline, and possibly never get in the game and get started. The other challenge and problem that I saw with the traditional BRRRR method is that when you are using all of your cash, 75, 100,000, even 50,000 to acquire that property, right? All the renovations are coming out of your own pocket, which when you're in that position, most people are going to try to pinch pennies, are going to try to cut corners, are going to try to save as many dollars as they can because those dollars are coming out of their own pocket, therefore creating a situation where they may not be able to force the appreciation as effectively as they could. They may not be able to do as quality renovations as they should to force the value of that particular property. And the other problem that I saw with the traditional BRRRR method is speed of scaling, right? How many people have just 75,000 to 100,000 or maybe even more, depends on your market, to just lock up in a deal, let that process happen and then do it all over again? Most folks may be able to do one or two if they have that much capital sitting around available for them to invest, whereas others may just sit on the sideline. So if you do have that capital, you dump it into a deal, 6 months, 8 months, you might be able to do one or two deals a year that way, which we looked at that and we saw we wanted to scale faster. So we took the same idea of the BRRRR method, we turned it on our heads, and I like to say we put it on steroids, and we like to call it BRRRR Better, right? How can we take this method and do it better, more effectively, and scale faster? And so instead of buying a traditional BRRRR property the way that you would with all cash, we're bringing in private equity, private funds, fix and flip loans, different types of financing products that are allowing us to acquire that deal with a very small percentage of what it would have cost us to buy it with our cash. Then we create these situations where the lender will fund 100% of the renovation process. Now, I'll stop there and share. Number one, the greatest benefit of that is when the lender's funding 100% of that rehab, I'm not penny pinching. I'm not trying to swing hammers. I'm not counting costs. Now, we don't let costs get ahead of us and we make sure that we stay within budget, but I'm not tempted to try to hold back and cut corners and do a cheap renovation and whatnot. I'm actually motivated to do everything right because it's not my money. The lenders are paying for it. So therefore, all of our properties are able to be renovated the right way. The second problem that we solved from the traditional BRRRR method is in order to get in, as I shared with the traditional BRRRR method, you're spending $50,000, $75,000, $100,000 plus to get into a deal, which if you have that, fantastic. You could lock it up, get in a deal, but your ability to scale is going to be slower. Whereas I can get into a deal for 1/10 of that. We can get into a deal for $12,000 to $20,000, $25,000 max into a deal. So if we took that same $100,000 that it would cost a traditional BRRRR investor to get into a deal, I could buy 4 deals at a time. Then go through the same process, renovate that property, at the end refinance it, pull all my cash out, do it again, and I can continue to do so. He may do 1 or 2 a year. I can do 4, 6, 8, maybe even 10 in a year with that same exact amount of capital, allowing for speed and the ability to scale much faster and grow wealth significantly faster. And then, the other problem that we saw was that I had shared earlier is that at the end, when you're trying to renovate and force the appreciation, if you don't have all the capital or you're spending it out of your own pocket and you're forced to cut corners, you're going to pay for it on the back end when those appraisals come in and when the value of that property is done, because you didn't renovate it the way that you could. All of our renovations are significant transformations, adding a bathroom, adding a bedroom and a master ensuite, reworking the entire layout of the property, reframing the flow of the entire house, opening up the kitchen, granite, things along those lines, adding ADU units to the property to boost value. And I've never once ever been tempted to try to pinch pennies or save a couple of bucks, because we submit the budget in advance, the lender funds it, and we're able to do it in scale. And so then when my tenants move in, I don't have the same problems that maybe the traditional BRRRR investor has, because I didn't cut corners. They move into a brand new house, AC's new, plumbing's new, wires new, roof's new. So that is our method of scaling using the BRRRR method, but then we've applied some other strategies and thought processes and systems to it to do it much more faster, much more speedy, and to be able to grow and scale significantly faster. So follow us for more real estate tips. I'd love to hear in the comments what you'd like to learn about. If you have questions about the BRRRR method or our method of using BRRRR and doing it like BRRRR on steroids, what we call BRRRR Better, drop it in the comments below, and follow us for more real estate tips. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, as we're going to drop a lot more tutorials, deal breakdowns, and deal analysis, and just tutorials on how you can be a much better real estate investor.